Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 600. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast. Joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinside,
Yo.
and Tony Korkanakis. Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers, to episode 600. New angle for me. Using my phone tonight. My webcam just stopped working. Wouldn't be episode 600 if we didn't have technical difficulties. Par for the course. So welcome to 600, folks. We have made it. I hope you all, you didn't check the stream obviously out when we did it. It is on Twitch. I'm actually going to move it over to YouTube, the Turtles playthrough. So you can watch our Turtles entire playthrough of the game on the hardest difficulty is what we stream. We streamed Mario Golf, I think. No, we didn't stream that. I don't remember. We had some technical difficulties for that as well on Saturday, but hope you guys check those out. Anyways.
Yes. We should announce who we were since we couldn't talk. I was Michelangelo.
Yeah, again, we had audio things. I was Leonardo, and Corey was who'd you play?
Donatello.
No, Donatello, and then
Yep.
Tony, you were
Corey
April.
was, yeah.
No, I mean I made a mistake. You do lose yourself a little bit if you play like a lot of turtles on screen. So it definitely helped, I think, to not necessarily if you could watch yourself and not see just green turtles with very small colors. I was I keep losing who I am. Where am I?
I kind of wish they chose the like action figure different skin tone colors for them to help differentiate them a little more.
Just a little bit, maybe. But all in all, it was a great game. I mean, that was just a minor little gripe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I actually downloaded it for Xbox already, so I'm going to play more of that.
Me too.
But yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think I really enjoyed Mario Golf that we played at the end. I was kind of in that Mario Golf mode, so I kind of want to pick that up myself. I was really bummed that it wasn't part of the buy two get one at Target this weekend. I was like, come on, because I really wanted to get that, but yeah. Anyways, that was the Gamecast stuff. We're going to get into talking about some more game stuff, but this is the Moviecast for 600. So, folks, we're going to go back 100 episodes, not like every episode, but talk about the moments that we remember and the stuff that has changed our lives over the last like 2 years. Essentially, it's been a crazy 2 years. With COVID, with the movie industry shifting back and forth on things, delays, new shows, streaming services. There's a lot to go over. Sorry, I'm also dealing with Amazon's help as we speak.
Why are you doing that now? Stop that.
I don't
close
know.
it. Close it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, so yeah, I have notes. Let me get my notes. So I took some notes down as best I could to kind of help guide us through some of this stuff. Now, I don't know, guys, if I skip something you guys want to talk about, that's fine. But like, I guess the biggest thing to discuss, to go into from the last 100 episodes has to be the box office, right? Because like, by the way, episode 500 occurred on June, like we did 501 on June 17th of 2020. So that's the time gap here we've gone through. And now COVID was out and rampant then. We know so much more now than we did. I listened to our earlier episodes than that. That's what happened. I went to go back to listen to some of our episodes, and I got tied up in our earlier episodes.
You went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. I was like, let me hear the March episodes with COVID just coming out. And man, we were just such noobs. I mean, that's really it. It's so
hopeful. I would say we
yeah.
try to be hopeful. I would imagine it was more of that. Because who knew? And but it was one of those things that it just as soon as it kept going, it's like, yeah, this is gonna be a world changer.
Yeah, it was. We had no idea, and I think even in like that summer, as we were talking about the box office, like we were talking about shifting to streaming a lot already then, and I think because they were starting to do their the same day as the theater, or forget the theater and just come straight to streaming a lot of places, and it was like a big shift to digital world, and I think that was the biggest adjustment, is like the death of the box office. Now, was the death greatly exaggerated? Are we coming back here? Yeah, I think it's starting to rebuild. But that path over 2 years to get to where we are now, it's just crazy how long of a time that was. I mean, looking back, I mean, what movies? I'm trying to think of movies that came out that we were really looking forward to in the theaters that we watched at home. Like I remember I was talking about Birds of Prey was like in the theaters. It came out in like the week after COVID, like shut everything down. I forgot that was it.
Yeah.
The first Sonic, I think, was the last hit before COVID, I think, that I remember.
Yeah. Sonic was. I saw that one just before. I can't believe that, because that were on Sonic 2. I think just, and it feels like that was like yesterday, right? I mean, it does feel like the last 2 years just blurred together. I don't know about you listeners and viewers. By the way, guys, I forgot to mention we are streaming live on Twitch on Tuesday nights. We've been doing it for like probably a year now, right? On Twitch, Tuesday nights. And while we were, we're learning a lot. And yeah, I mean, it's been an adjustment, but everything has been in this COVID times. We were originally using Skype, and I mentioned that on our early podcast about how we can continue our podcast through COVID, because hey, we're on Skype, so we don't really meet with each other anyways. So I guess that worked out okay. But yeah, so the box office was a big change for us, and I think streaming services aren't going the way I expected them to go. I think that's my big thing. We have a lot of streaming services now, and I think we've hit kind of a limit, as we've seen with Netflix. I think Netflix had its first loss, right? Yeah, that's true. Subscriber wise, that's true. So I I think that. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking an anniversary beer for all those wondering, for the anniversary episode. For those ever wondering about that. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I mean, you're looking at like more and more services that are possibly merging this year, with HBO and Discovery. Going to probably merge those services because of the companies have merged, and I think we've seen that a little bit in this industry. So you guys don't think we've hit a bubble then for this streaming services?
No, I do. I think we're about at the limit that people will tolerate, as far as needing like 10 different streaming services. Because again, like I've said for the longest time, it's going to be cable again, and it's almost there. And as they bundle, it's going to be even more like cable. So as prices will go up, and it's just the industry is going to catch up to this. Man, just wait. It's coming. It will.
Well, no, wait. I will say
Soon.
though, like, it's not month. Cable's
The
now
prices are going up.
Changes. Cable has changed. They've gone month to month now.
Good.
I mean, it's something.
So again, it's cable. It's the same. Cable has caught up, and it's the same thing, kind of, or close to it now.
You got like live television like services too now as well.
Sure.
Like YouTube TV and all that.
Hidden behind very cable-y sort of package deals and things where you have to still have cable for certain things to work. It's very, yeah.
I think that, like,
where did you think streaming service were going, Jim? Like, you're saying that's not what you thought. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Well, I really thought we'd have more, even after this is over with, like same day releases from theaters. I really did. I think that the profitability of these things, like, it just shows. I mean, like, these companies had to shut down and cut the middleman out, the movie theaters, and started making profits on their movies. And I assumed that would change the industry to the point where we would almost get like a lot more movies than we are same day releases. That's what I thought we would do. And I think we had an episode on that in 2020 where we were talking about that. So we did talk about that, and I really thought once we made that move, and I think I made the same statement, is once we make that move, there's no turning it off. but they're really trying to turn it off. They really are. I mean, it's
Pretty much
less of a window now. It's like 45-day window now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you
I
saw
mean,
the hit that these movies can take if you come out like at the same time. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean, is it a hit though, or do they make it up in digital subscriptions? I mean,
no one, no one.
that's the weird balance of digital subscriptions. Like Xbox
The,
Game Pass, are the games profitable on this? I mean, because it's
you
spread
know,
amongst
all those
subscriptions.
all those numbers are hidden, it seems, and then reported like years later, a little dubiously. But Scarlett Johansson really ruined this whole model. She did it. It's her fault.
You're calling Scarlett Johansson out on this, really? For her
Yeah,
like
because
negotiations?
because she made because I mean maybe her movie was successful for Disney or Marvel, but not for her
Yeah,
because of the streaming deal. So
yeah,
and that's probably more of the driving force, really, why they have turned back, because the individuals who have all these contracts set up for, box office numbers, and that's what it's been and how they, cater towards, how they do business. What the people, directors, actors, the people involved, they're the ones who are like, well, where's this money going? It's not going to me anymore. And that's probably why they went back, kind of starting around, the big breakout hit to bring us back was, Spider-Man, really.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if that was. I mean, I think timing of it as well for Spider-Man is what helped Spider-Man in the box. Like the box office is climbing back. We've talked about big
mhm.
weekends. Um,
I mean, people
yeah,
are desperate to do things. Like we got like there was an entire year that people were not going outside of their
that's
house, and so you just
also why.
get cabin
Yeah.
fever, and you just
Also,
use.
gas prices are at an all-time high because people are traveling like fucking crazy right now, and nobody can just stay home for a little
Mhm.
bit. That's why. I mean, supply and demand. Same thing with the movies industry. Like they've been stuck at home and they weren't going anywhere, and now all of a sudden they want to get out there and see whatever the hell they can see. You know what I mean? Like I saw Lightyear, yesterday, and
God.
Oof.
yeah, not a great movie. I didn't like that. I brought my 9-year-old. Neither of us left that theater saying that was a good movie. So
Impressive.
that's not a good sign for Pixar.
It's
So
wide reaching in its disappointment.
yeah, she turned to me about midway into that movie. By the way, I know it's a tangent, and she's like, "Is this almost over?" And I'm like, "Ooh, not yet." So we watched the rest of it, but she was bored, and I was kind of like, "Why does this exist?" So yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think we had a few mid-range ones too that were a little surprising. Like, I don't remember which one it was. I think, well,
There's a couple horror films, wasn't there?
there was something like that. Did and how did that Everywhere Whatever All at Once movie do? I think I did okay.
It was
Well, it
not
was
great.
like on streaming though.
That
Yeah,
was that
it hit.
just streaming?
No, I think
No,
it was in
no,
the
it came to
theater. It
theaters.
was
It
select.
didn't do great. It didn't do great in
Okay.
theaters, and it was
It wasn't a
selected.
Something
wide release.
I know there
Yeah.
were some mid-range things. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm surprised Top Gun did as well as it did. The Jurassic World did about as good as expected. These aren't I mean, Jurassic World you expect to be kind of on top of the other ones, but I don't know. I thought we've had a fair amount of mid-range releases this last half year that were a little surprising to me.
Yeah.
Oh, like Sonic too. That as well. There was again, Top Gun is a surprise. That did better than expected. Um, the Batman did better than I thought it would be at this point.
You're not getting
Well,
like
what else is
the
there?
Last Duel. Like the Last Duel is not a movie that did well in the theater. Mortal Kombat
It's
didn't do anything
no,
in the theater.
that's why it's not completely back. It's rebuilding now, and you
But
see, you're
that
getting
wasn't any different than it was before the pandemic, though.
no, because I think you'd still get a pretty solid release on movies. I think now it's basically people are going to see like the big blockbusters because it's like okay, it's like summer movie magic is back. Let's go see the movies, and so they're seeing these blockbusters like Jurassic World. You know, not a great movie, but a ton of people went and saw it last week or the week before. You know, last week was 60 million, but and I think that means like it's because of the drop off. Like you're seeing that drop because it's just like let's go. Everybody's like let's go now and see these blockbusters, and then you know, I don't know if it's like I said, it could be a different box office forever. I mean, this might be the way things work for a long time. You know, maybe it's nothing COVID related. Maybe it's just the new.
I mean, like let's just look at this. Like in 2019, pre-pandemic, the box office for that year was over $11 billion. In
Okay.
2020, it was $2 billion, and in
Wow.
2021, it was $4.4 billion.
Be interesting to see what it's at this year. I mean, we still haven't had it. Oh, wait, Spider-Man. That was it.
And right now, it's at 3.3, halfway through the year.
Well,
Yeah.
This week we have what Jurassic World second, third week. Bad
Second
movie
week.
59. Lightyear did 50.
Top Gun 44.
Top Gun 44.
I mean,
Doctor
plus we're getting
Strange, which
half the movies. I mean, we had 910 movies released in the theater in 2019. We had 450 in
you
2020,
well,
430 in
production was also a
2021.
problem. Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
What?
Like, so that's why the box office is slowly coming back. Yeah, it doubled in 2021, but doubling from 2 to 4, you know, still combined hasn't hit what 2019 is gonna had done. Like you have
Yeah.
to go all the way back to 1989 to hit these numbers.
I mean, listen, it's gonna be. It's not like it's gonna explode a year after. But it is. It is starting to come back. So we'll see how it finishes. I think the fall could be huge for the box office. So we'll see. I really do
I
think it
mean,
could be huge.
Bad Boys for Life was the #1 movie in 2020. So
Yeah, that's what's crazy about 2020. All right, let's move on from the box office. Let's talk about the more digital age in terms of conventions. You know, as well. Don't forget, like we talked about the movie side of things, but now we've had more of the digital conventions. Like you know, we've had the DC fandom.
two of them.
Even like Comic-Con was online for a little bit, right? I mean, is that something we can see going forward, or what do you think? Will that be like?
I think we talked about it a little bit. Yeah, and like we even mentioned, I remember Tony, like we mentioned, like you're gonna see movie companies doing the Nintendo Directs and the state of plays and stuff. You're
We
gonna see
did.
it, and then
Yep.
Fandom came out right after that, and so yeah, you're gonna see like events for a digital
Disney.
audience going
Yeah,
forward.
Disney.
Yeah, and like Disney's doing it now, so like
Yeah.
you're gonna see that, and you know you're not gonna necessarily wait for certain things to happen in the year. You're gonna time it for when it's best for your market or your company.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
well, and also on
Does
on a
that hurt?
movie TV side, I feel like it's more addition more than subtraction. Like you'll still have those
Mm-hmm.
in-person events you used to, but there wasn't really a lot like uh, before the internet. Really, like you had a few in-person events, but not a lot for like announcing or showing, movies or trailers or TV show stuff. So now there's just more opportunity. They can do whenever they want, and they have been. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna get a blend. We'll still get those Comic Con. Like Tony, you went to didn't you go to you went to PAX, right? Or did you go to Comic Con? No, we didn't go Comic Con yet. We didn't have a Comic Con they're doing a Comic-Con this year for the first time, and it's COVID. So, which we're all not going to. Sorry.
They did Comic-Con last year.
Did they? That's what I'm asking. Did they do a
We
Comic-Con last year?
went. Tony and I went.
Oh, you guys did go. Okay. Sorry, you did go. So how was that last year?
Yeah. Yeah, I only went Thursday. I think you said the same thing. I wasn't sure. Like, I don't remember exactly, but I think we we went together. We went in the same car. We had that parking thing. Right. I mean, we were done in a day. I mean, we did everything we could. Like, there was no panels. Yeah, like we were basically done by like 1 o'clock, and like, well, like I guess we can hang around a little longer, but yeah, there was no panels like that were exciting, to
Well,
go
they
to,
weren't
and
getting
that's
any stars really yet, right?
yeah, and
So
the people they had for signings, we weren't there for that or anything, so
yeah,
definitely muted. It was fun. It was cool to see it back, and there are people there, but like a lot of the exclusive Comic-Con, um, you know, merchandise and stuff wasn't necessarily there, like, you know, so. Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. No, it makes sense.
Was it
Yeah. So
was PAX this year where someone actually did catch it and died, right? I think that happened, yes, unfortunately.
and that could still always be a case from now on. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. You weren't. If you have like a compromised immune system, cons might be a digital thing. But I think they have like Comic Con has. Do they have a digital option entirely? Like, can you actually like attend? Like, because I know like that's something that I would like to see them do. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I know
And
they
like a
did.
lot of the stuff is streaming too. Even the stuff that's at the show, you can just
Yeah,
watch on Twitch or something.
well, that's what I'm saying. So you could digitally see it, so
Mhm.
you don't have to be there and take the chance. But okay, all right. Um, we had I think two like there's a lot of stars that passed away during these 100 episodes. I did have two that stood out for me, and I know obviously Mike, you have yours too. But like two that stood out for me was like Chadwick Boseman and
Mhm.
Sean Connery. Sean Connery passed away during this too.
Yeah.
I forget about that, and it's just like two big names, and for me that I'm like, wow, we lose people that like it's especially Chadwick, who was like Connery was retired from acting and he was kind of getting, he lived a
He
hell
was
of a life.
He's
older.
like
Yeah.
90 or
Yeah, he lived
so,
a
right?
hell of a life. But Chadwick didn't
Yeah.
even get to see like we didn't get to see him back. Obviously, as Black Panther, it's a big loss, and there's a bunch like Louis Anderson was another like comedian that passed away. Bob Saget
Hmm.
was that Betty
Yep.
White was
Betty
just
White.
recently.
Yeah.
Bob
Hmm.
Saget, and then
Hmm.
was it Norm?
Yeah, Norm Macdonald, of course, for me. Well, I was
Yeah,
just getting back into him. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, no, there was a lot. Stanley was before 2020.
yeah. I think he was 19, wasn't he? I think it was 2019.
Yeah, but yeah,
I have to look
and
back at our episode. We definitely have an episode for him somewhere. So
hmm
yeah. But I mean, there was some deaths were shocking. Some like there were some shocking comedians alone. A lot of
Mhm.
shocking
no, yeah,
deaths.
yeah. There was
Um,
a few
yeah.
for sure.
So, but and then there were some shows that like stood out. Like, did they stand out because of COVID times, or did they stand out because they're just that good? Some of them were like Tiger King. I think that was a product of COVID.
That was
Um,
at the very beginning. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and you know, but then you have like Squid Game was another big release that came out that was very good. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
uh, so yeah, I
Arcane.
mean, Oh yeah, Arcane.
Netflix, like,
Arcane came out.
Netflix had some good stuff. I mean, when you think about like the top shows and all the Disney Plus stuff as well, right? That all pretty much
Yeah,
started.
I
Yep.
think that all happened, and I was looking back at mostly the titles of our episodes since 500, and it seemed
Mhm.
to me like the Disney Plus stuff finally all came out, and we were all in it,
Yeah, I
especially
mean, because we had the
WandaVision.
whole rewrites of Captain
Yep.
or Falcon and the Winter Soldier because like the whole thing was about a virus and like an outbreak and stuff. So like, well, we need to rewrite this, and yeah, so then that kind of pushed things along, pushed things around, and rearranged some of their plans.
Yeah. I know
So we
that.
got WandaVision earlier than expected.
Yeah, and that one was, I think, the most sort of like biggest phenomenon, I think, just because everyone was waiting so long for really any of those Marvel Disney Plus shows to show up, and that was the first one. And we
Hmm.
were there week by week. It had that water cooler stuff, and you can see us in the episodes talking about it and then getting frustrated. At least me and Jim near the end of it.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it was definitely an experience, that one. The other shows we watched, we've followed. It wasn't, but it didn't quite have, I think, the magic that that one did.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, there were some other ones, but yeah, that was like we talked about. There was an episode on water cooler. I know that we had that. Um. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I'm trying to think of some big 2020. The problem with the 2020 and 2021 blurred for me. It's like they still do, and I talk about this at work all the time too, because work blurred together too. Um, so I don't remember like what came out prior to episode 500 because it all kind of merges together. But some a lot of good stuff out there that it was a lot of great. I mean, a lot of great stuff. But I think the biggest thing that we can talk about was like obviously because COVID hit 2020 for the whole year. It was a weird Christmas, and we had a lot of episodes when what we were watching. First of all, we did a lot of lists in the beginning, which was great. I love doing lists. We might bring some of those back. I wrote some options down, by the way. In fact, the next thing I want to talk about that we talked about in a lot of our episodes, comfort shows and movies. Um, we talked like a lot of times we all went back and watched like Tony, you rewatched The Office. Um, so yeah, and we talk about that a lot, like in times of like that stuff, a pandemic, which never happened before. You kind of go back into a shell of like, I want to watch stuff I love to watch. And like, so I mean, I watched Gargoyles. I think Mike, I think, oh, Tony, didn't you watch the X-Men as well? Rewatch the X-Men or you started with it? Yeah. So, then
I
we
think,
didn't finish the stuff, but like we watched a lot of the old
Hmm.
shows
yeah,
and movies. So,
I'm pretty
at
sure
some
we
point I
watched
was,
Chuck.
uh,
I think.
Chuck, that's
yeah,
right, Chuck.
that's
Great show.
yeah. At
I,
some point in there, I think I was trying to watch Batman the animated series through as well.
Mhm. But
yeah,
it's
I think you
interesting
were.
because
You did
like,
watch.
oh, we got the Mandalorian also, by the way, in
Yeah.
2020, and yeah, so there's a like some good stuff that came out, but like the movie wise, it is interesting. 'Cause I just went back and looked at like the best movies of 2020, and like Extraction was what I had. It's like one of the best movies. I'm like, that's where we were at with movies. Like a Netflix film that was just, it was okay, middle of the road
Yeah,
action film. Like it wasn't anything special, I would say, at this point, looking back at it. But like that's like scraping the bottom of the barrel. I think Weathering with
yeah,
You is my other one. Like,
yeah. I mean,
you know.
it was a lot of great stuff that we watched, and just even old movies too. Like like the classic stuff.
Yeah,
Classics.
you kind of fell back on your favorites. Yeah.
Last Starfighter. I know where we watched that. That's
Mhm.
one of my favorites, by the way, from the older era of movies. Um, yeah, 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 absolutely.
Mhm. Right. Right. All that uncertainty, yeah.
I mean, Mandalorian was Mandalorian was already out there. It was going to season two, but yeah, I mean, it was
Came
definitely a
out?
lot
I
of the
thought it came out in
Marvel.
20 was it 2019 it came out?
Yeah, the Marvel shows hit in 2020.
Oh, okay.
So we had WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. We had those shows hit. Um,
Yeah. But
yeah, yeah, the old stuff.
with
Yeah, yeah,
Disney
no, I got
Plus,
you.
like, that's all it was, like, just like, "Here's your old favorites." I mean, that's all they
Yeah,
had, so
I mean,
Mhm.
Chip and I mean, I hope even yesterday, you just sometimes get in that mood. I watched Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears was on. Just why not?
No.
I grew up with it. Absolutely. I watched it. I was like, wow. And the one episode, I picked a random episode and it happened to be the one like I remember it vividly. I'm like, I remember this entire episode. But no, I mean, like I said, there's always those comfort things, and I would like to do at some point this in this next 100 episodes, which I'm sure this year we'll do it, is our top 5 comfort shows each. Comfort movies, comfort shows, comfort games. We'll be doing that at some point. That'll be my next suggestion for a topic list.
cool.
But yeah, so I mean, that's for me in terms of review. That's the stuff that stood out the most. Tony, what about you? Anything that you can think of? That's what I'm saying. Did you watch a lot of the? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I remember Netflix had that, like, share it together thing feature. Yeah, and Xbox had that too, I think it's some like and, like, nobody cared about that until, like, you actually had to be like, "I can't go out, guys. You wanna try something where we can
Yeah.
do something together online?" So, it is interesting how that,
Yeah.
was ahead of
It's
its
gotten
time, I
me.
suppose.
It's gotten me thinking about like I'd love to like I know you just said you don't want to get together to watch those movies, but I kind of want to get a group together to watch those kind of movies. Just once a month, try to get a group together to watch a random old movie like people love that you probably never seen. Not saying it has to be a bad movie. I would say like my tier is like Ninja Turtles and Surf Ninjas. I would love to have people just sit down and have a watch party and just watch, maybe do a double feature night. And that's what I was thinking about doing. Uh, but yeah, I know that you had those virtual. I never did those watch parties, and that's something that would be interesting to try to do. So, Tony did. Corey, what about you? What about you? What do you think would be
No, I
your?
mean, the biggest thing for me is like, I guess like we loved going to the movies. Like
Oh yeah,
every
yeah,
summer, like there were
yeah,
times we bought like I remember like getting like passes to the theater so we could go every single week during the
yeah,
summer.
yeah,
And that like just like it just died. Like you didn't go to the movies. Nothing was in the theater, and that was always a big part of my childhood. And as I became more of an adult, enjoying the summer blockbusters, those movies, and that just ended. Like just like it was like rip the band-aid off. There's nothing. It wasn't like, oh, gradually we'll kind of slow this down. No, it was just gone. And so that's just the thing that sticks out the most for me is not going to the movies and like seeing all these films I'm super excited for get delayed and like production issues and like, will you ever see these films? And then getting
yeah,
stuff rushed out because they had to do it, or or whatever it was. But yeah, like I mean, Dune was my most anticipated movie 2 years in a row because like usually you can say that about
That's
video
right.
games, but
Right.
movies like they come out when they're supposed to come out because productions got
We were,
so specific timelines because these actors have schedules that they need to
yeah,
be worked around, and so yeah, it was very interesting how that just went out the window and you just had to
that
go
was
with
crazy.
stuff on your television or whatever. And so yeah, that's the biggest thing that sticks out for me is not being able to go to the movies. And I mean, it saved me money and everything, but at the same time, like that was such a big part of my life. It was
I mean, it's
quite
such a great.
interesting.
That was our watch party. That was like our launch
I mean,
events. Like
yeah,
we would get.
every big movie came out, we'd all go
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we still got to get back to that. It's tough to get back on that
Hmm.
schedule now that you're out of it. You know, it's really
Yeah, it
hard to
is.
sync the schedules up for it. It's
Mhm.
amazing. But yeah, Mike, what about yourself here? What's like over these
Well,
100 episodes?
well, I definitely watch less stuff in general than you guys. On the gaming side, there was more going on for me, but I definitely it got to a, it always was for me. I would not see a movie if I didn't see it in theaters because I had no interest in watching a movie at home. And now because of all this and a few like at home releases, I did watch a few movies in these last 2 years at home, which I never would have done otherwise.
Mm.
I watched the Snyder Cut, which was long
Yeah,
at home,
that's right.
and I enjoyed it. So definitely just me getting more open to the possibilities of streaming, even though like I can count maybe on one hand the times I've actually watched a movie on streaming these two years, but that's still five more than the zero it would have been before. So
Yeah,
that's something.
yeah.
I watched the Matrix shitty movie. I
Oh,
Good
watched,
thing you
I
watched it at home, but not in the theater.
yeah,
forgot
no,
that.
I did not go to the theater for that. No, I just watched Sonic 2 that way. So yeah, and I almost I wonder if we're in a little bit of a sweet spot here because it does seem almost like they're not going to keep it as soon this window. For me to have seen Sonic 2 like a couple weeks ago already, and soon Doctor Strange, I'm gonna watch it for the first time at home.
Yeah.
It seems soon still to me, but hopefully that's how it is. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure that's going to stay that way, but we'll see.
I think it will, but I think what this has weeded out is um, because of the 45-day window thing. I think we're getting a lot more people the people who are going to go see these movies are going to. Yes, yes, and then the people who aren't going to go see
Yeah.
them, they're going to wait anyways. Now they only have to wait 45 days, so they're not going to
No,
go to the
it's
theater. Yes,
the only two movies that I've seen in the past 6 months in theaters have been, two of my top like three or four favorite superheroes, Spider-Man and Batman. So
yeah,
that was
yeah,
it. I was not gonna go, make plans to sort of basically hand off my child for Doctor Strange or something else like that. That is just a little lower on my tier of interest. So that's just
I
how
mean,
it is
not
I
right
just
now.
mean, you
But
also had a kid during this whole
yeah,
time.
not just
yes,
Last 100.
like
yes, I had a
life
kid
changes happen
6 months
too.
ago
Not
too.
just
Yes,
COVID.
yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
which will continue to make it pretty hard for me to go to the movie theater, unless it's like that top tier thing I need to do and can plan around
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's been a tough adjustment is getting schedules synced. So
Mm,
it's tough to go see these. Usually a Thursday night works best. Back in the day, and it still kind of would, but it's like
work.
still trying to find the time to go see those then too.
Mhm.
But yeah, all right. Yeah, anything else you guys want to add? I think that's pretty good for the movies of 100 episodes, guys. Just to break up our 500, 600. Um, a lot. Yeah. Yep.
Yep,
You were
exactly.
you you were not just an A-list member, you were also the previous Movie Pass, right? What was the other one? Yeah. You were in that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But that's where streaming comes into play. Like I really like there's like
That
yeah,
is the other thing.
sure. Yeah. I know. Well, I mean that's why I was shocked Lightyear.
There, that
Like
that
it
is the
was
other thing we didn't mention. The sort of the feeling of like, of a premium streaming only movie feels better than it used to now, because it had to be that way a little bit. So if something is released primarily on streaming, it's not like, oh, that's not a real
It's
thing.
not a
Now it feels a
straight to
little,
video.
yeah, it
Like,
doesn't have that, yeah, straight to video vibe anymore. So
mhm.
I don't know if it fully feels like a theater release yet, but it's not like some bargain
yeah.
bin thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
definitely more elevated than it used to be, straight to streaming movies and
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah. I agree. That's
I
honestly
mean, I
like
feel
I
like we
That was
definitely.
I
I think they
was happening
really
pre-pandemic too.
weaponized nostalgia these past 2 years. Like we need we need to get people to feel good about what's going on in the world. So what was a good time? Like you mentioned earlier, like we talked about, like you want to know the outcome. So let's get all these remasters, remakes. Let's do new things of like reunions, and like that was like huge, huge. Yep, I mean that's what it
right.
was. It's like weaponizing nostalgia. That's
Yeah.
what we were in,
Yeah,
and
but
I think that continues for a little while. Yeah, like you said, like we got Top Gun Maverick this year, which was a great film. Not that it was like try to cash in. There's gonna be the cash-ins, and they're gonna be ones that do like we got like Ghostbusters, right? We got like things that people remember loving as a kid and loving in good times. We're gonna get more of that, I think,
yeah.
as we go, because like you said, you don't want to take those risks. You want to be able to, like, all right, this is something that people know and like. We'll probably get all those people to come out for it or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I think, like I said, I agree with you guys in terms of the selection of movies. I think there will be a straight to streaming for some of these. Like I said, I'm still shocked that Disney released Lightyear. Now that I saw it, I'm like, that is a Disney Plus movie, in without a doubt. Like I
What did
don't
we
know
say?
why.
It made what, 50 million, which isn't probably what they were hoping for, but something.
No, it
Yeah,
was way
predictions
low.
were like around 80. So,
Yeah. So they will
but
probably
yeah,
hit
it's a
that again. I
shame
think they
too,
were
because
hinting.
like
I think
the
they were hinting.
middle tier movies, or like not necessarily the big flashy ones, like the Last Duel, which came out. I love that film. Like I thought it was fantastic,
I didn't see
and
it.
it's just a movie that just went out of, like, it was a very expensive film. Ridley Scott, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. It just died in the theaters, and then streaming was like nobody cared either, really. But those movies are just, they're not going to happen anymore. Where it's going to be a really expensive but artsy style film. I don't think we see those as much.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking Netflix? What you? A movie?
Was that a Netflix movie, Irishman?
I don't think that was it.
What are we
I
talking?
don't know.
I missed what you were saying before in the beginning there, Tony. Mhm. Oh yeah, sure. Like Extraction. There was, you talk about
Will
like
Smith and Bright.
right. Uh, oh, hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah, you were way out there saying this is garbage. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was Spielberg. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's it for episode 600 on the Moviecast. So, thank you for tuning in. If you've been tuning in for the past 600 episodes, wow, thank you. Obviously, jumping on board now, that's cool. We're on Twitch, like I said, on Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock streaming, barring technical difficulties that delay us sometimes. But yes, usually every Tuesday night you'll see us here. Start with the movie cast usually first. Do a game cast. Sometimes we throw in a spoiler cast as a bonus. So tune in, as we go forward for episode 700, and that's going to wrap it up, guys.
200 more.
Thanks. We'll see you on the game cast.